So we're coming back to our 10 foundational exercises that we began with, but now we're adding on. So we'll take those 30 seconds of traditional exercises that we did before and add on 2 15-second segments. So now we're working for 60 seconds. So we're going to start with our alternating lunge, pressing that foot forward, keeping our chest nice and tall. We've got 30 seconds of this work, working on our balance and stability as we transition from leg to leg, keeping the body nice and tall. So remember when we're doing lunges, we still want to keep that core engaged. It may not be the first thing that we think about. We want to make sure that we're pushing through that heel, coming back to center, and exhaling as we come to that top position. Keep it moving. Nice. Get ready. That's it. Now we're going to step forward with the right leg and work on a static lunge, lowering and lifting that same side. So our feet are planted. We want to really focus on that front foot, pushing through the heel of the foot and the ball of the back foot, keeping ourselves centered right in the middle, shoulders back and down. Get ready, switching legs. Take that opposite foot forward, reset, lower and lift. Once again, pushing through the heel of the front foot, ball of the back foot, keeping the shoulders back and down, chest open, and remembering to breathe. That's it. So we're moving back to our alternating lunges. Go ahead and pick up the knee, reach and pull those arms from the ceiling, keeping that body nice and tall. So remember in these time segments, it doesn't matter if we're staying right on a beat, we just want to make sure that movement is continuous. To get that heart rate up a little bit higher, we lift those knees a little bit higher and reach those arms up towards the ceiling. We got 30 seconds to work here before we transition to single leg. How are we feeling, guys?
Great.
Good. Okay, keep that energy up. Body nice and tall, keep breathing, working hard. Reach and pull with those arms, and that's it. Now, we got a balance move. We're gonna pick the knee up, bring it towards the chest, and then reverse lunge and bring it back behind us. Bring it up, hold long enough that we get a chance to balance, bring it back and down. Just got 15 seconds of these. Keep going, up, back, and ready to change. Switching sides, reset, bring that knee into the chest, reverse and back. Same rules apply here. We still want to keep that chest open, making sure that we're moving with a nice tall torso, finding that balance on the top, and that's it. Okay, coming back to butt kickers. We're gonna go ahead and reach and pull with those arms, draw the heels back towards those glutes, finding a tempo that's right for you. So this is one we wanna work through. We know it now. So let's see if we can maybe get a little bit more depth in the movement. Sitting down lower into that squat, picking that heel up, allowing that heart rate to climb. That's our goal. We want to feel that heart rate come on up, keeping the chest tall, exhaling every time we're pushing up from the ground. How are we doing, team?
Good.
Nice. There we go. Okay, we're transitioning. Turning to the side, lining up your toe and your heel. This is called a staggered hinge. We're going to lower down, sit back into the hips, squeeze the glutes, and come all the way back. Work back and forth between this. This one we're not going to move very quickly. Feel that stretch in the hamstring, that engagement and squeezing the glutes up on the top. Keep going. Last one, go ahead and transition over to the opposite side, switch your legs, change your stance. Here we go, drop your hips back, exhale, drive forward, hips back, exhale, drive forward. Last one right there. Nice work. Okay, we're back to squats. Let's take that stance a little bit wider than shoulder width. Plant those feet squarely in the floor, lower and lift. This is gonna be our first 30 seconds. So once again, we're finding that range of motion that respects where our knees are. We wanna be mindful of a couple things, making sure that as we lower down, our knee is not tracking over our toes. So that same idea of sitting back into the hips, exhaling as we come back up standing, nice and tall every time. Keep that breathing consistent, legs getting fired up, body tall. Now we're transitioning into a pulsing squat. Go ahead and lower down, sink into those hips, and add a little bit of a bounce and movement into that pulse. So you may find that you need to take that pulse up a little bit higher, and that's okay too. We're gonna really keep those legs loaded, keep that heart rate up. Are we feeling that intensity?
Woo! Yeah.
Okay, so it's a big transition between what we were doing before where we had a little bit of recovery on the top. Now that load stays in the legs the entire time. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. So we're moving back to bird dog. So in this position, we're gonna go ahead and come back to that tabletop position, extend the right leg and the left arm, and then just move back and forth to that tabletop position and that extension. So we're gonna stay on the same side the entire time for this set, continuously moving back and forth, finding that stability in the core, thinking every time when we go to that extended position about drawing those abs in so that that low back is protected. We've got 30 seconds with this move before we add a little bit more intensity. So getting ready on this last one. And now we're gonna go ahead and come back to that extended position, arm and leg extended nice and tall, and then we're gonna draw the elbow and the knee towards each other, pulling the abs in and coming back. So now we've got a greater balance challenge. We have to hold that position the entire time, getting that breathing going with our movement as well. So there's that exhalation as we draw that elbow to knee. Are we feeling the challenge?
Yeah.
Nice. And that breathing as well, we got that exhalation coming in. That is your last rep, guys. Well done. So we're ready to transition to the opposite side. So let's go ahead and extend that left leg out and the right arm. Find that stability first. Go ahead and lower back to tabletop. So the same rules apply here, but it may feel a little bit differently. We usually have a side that we're a little more dominant on, and there might be a struggle to keep the hips level and keep that balance stabilized. So just be mindful of that. Part of what we're doing is learning and observing and seeing where we're stronger, where we're weaker, and where we can improve. Continuing that nice inhalation as we extend, mindful of that tight belly and core as we bring it back to center. So now we're ready to transition into the more intense movement. Let's come back to that extended position, find our stability, draw that elbow back towards the knee, carving out those abs and then extending back out to that long position. Moving back and forth, following your breath. Always let your balance kind of be the indicator of how fast you can be moving. If you find there's a lot of instability in that extension, wait for it, find that position again, and then move back and forth. That's your final rep. Nice job. So now we're ready to come back to push-ups. So we've got 30 seconds of push-ups. Remember how we set up that push-up position is by placing those shoulders back and down. Eyes are gonna look slightly forward over the fingertips. We've got 30 seconds of these push-ups. So if you find yourself struggling maybe 5-10 seconds into it and you can't have good form, we wanna bring those knees back down to the ground, continue with those push-ups. There's always a way to modify before we throw in the towel. 30 seconds, looking good, keeping the abs pulled in tight, and remember we wanna bring all of the muscles into play. Finishing up that last rep. Now we're gonna transition into plank. So come back to where we begin our push-up, pull those shoulder blades back and down, and this is just what we call an isometric hold. So we're not moving in this plank, we're just keeping our body nice and stable. So we're checking in to make sure the top of our head, our back, and our hips are all in a straight line. Even though it's an isometric movement, it's very active. You should feel your quadriceps, your leg muscles engaged, your glutes engaged, abs are pulled in tight, shoulder blades back and down. Are we feeling it, friends?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go, last one. So we're gonna channel that inner superhero, come down to our Superman position, long bodies, push the hips into the ground, and then we're gonna lift the legs and the torso up off the ground at the same time, keeping that transition nice and smooth. So don't need to hold it for too long. We wanna make sure that we feel length in the spine and not compression. So we wanna exhale as we lift up, and then carefully keeping that same speed as we lower back and down. So we don't want to let gravity take over. We want to make sure that this stays active through both parts of the movement, through the lifting and the lowering. Keeping the core engaged, keeping that breathing consistent. That's our last rep. We're going to roll over onto our side and prepare for a side plank. This is a 15-second hold. Go ahead and lift those hips up, extend, and hold. Pulling the hips in nice and tight. Carson's giving us a little bit bent leg on the bottom, so we're gonna have more support there. And Bobby's got a full extension, so you wanna find a position that allows you to work that core. Go ahead and lower down, and we're gonna transition to the opposite side. Changing it over, resetting, stacking the hips. Nice tall alignment, stacking that elbow to hand, keeping those hips engaged and lifting them up towards the ceiling. And remember to breathe. Almost there. Hang on nice and tight, tight glutes. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Okay, so now we're going into our reverse crunch. So here we are in that 90-degree angle, knees close to the chest, and we're gonna begin bringing those knees into the chest, letting the hips lift only if we can control the lowering. So remember that when we work movements like this, the lifting and the lowering are both essential to that core work. So we're exhaling as we're coming in, bracing those abs, controlling the lowering, bringing it back and down. We're gonna stay here for 30 seconds before we transition. Are we feeling the abs? Yeah. Nice, keeping that breathing consistent. Nice job, you guys, keep it up. Stopping at 90 degrees, perfect. Grab your hamstrings as you transition yourself back up to a seated position. That top seated position, we're gonna start here, draw the belly in, exhale, lower, halfway down, and then bring it all the way back and up on that exhalation. Lowering down, drawing the belly in, exhale, coming up nice and tall. Lowering down, drawing the belly in, exhale, bring it all the way back and up. Keep going. How's the core doing, guys? Great. Nice. Finishing with a really tall position. Breathing nice and steady. Exhale up, and there we go. All right, we're back down for inverted bike. So this one, we're gonna bring our knees back up to 90, hands behind our head, and we're gonna bring the opposite elbow to the knee. Looking side to side, exhaling every time. So Bobby's transition to a longer lever here. This is gonna be more challenging, but only appropriate for people that feel like they've got that stability in their back. If there's any question at all, we're gonna keep those knees a little bit shorter and just keep that movement controlled. So a bigger range of motion, adding more of a twist, is also gonna add more of a challenge to your oblique muscles along those sidelines. Are we feeling the core light up? Yes. Nice. We're gonna flip over now. It's time to transition into mountain climbers. Setting up into plank position, our hands are directly underneath our shoulders. Now alternate bringing our knees right between our hands as if our hands were goalposts. So there's an exhalation that happens as we drive that knee right between those hands. Nice steady breathing. I can hear you breathing. I know you're working hard. I'm sure you are too. Let's continue that up right to the end. Nice steady movement. Exhale, bring into the center. There we go. Keeping those hips level as well. Feeling the burn. Last one right there, guys. Well done. So this completes our last exercise in this series of 10. We're gonna give ourselves a minute of recovery and then start again from the top for 2 to 3 more rounds. Nicely done.